Here's a piece of me to chew on.
Hey, anxiety, what's up? Welcome to Peace of Mind. Today's episode is going to be about anxiety. A lot of people have written in and asked us to talk about this specific subject and how to go about it. What is it? You know, what does it do to us? Can we deal with it? And I'm 47. I'm going to be 48. I've been dealing with crippling anxieties since I was in my childhood. And now as I said, I'm 48, and I'd say I'm with some good help, some friends. I'm winning. I'd say it's one of those things that knowledge really makes a big difference. Anxiety seems to be very, very much about knowledge. Not entirely, but very, very much. When I was in my early 20s, I wasn't quite finding a good balance in my life, and I really had nasty anxiety issues. I would get anything from regular kind of panic attacks to, anything from literally where I would be in a fetal position and on the ground, or just puking or whatever. The thing is, it takes the most absurd, expressions. To me, the solution in my 20s were overindulgence in many different ways. I kind of think I was throwing a wide net, kind of hoping that something would stick. And it did. I actually had the luck and the privilege to meet some amazing people along the way. And one of the first really big and powerful tools that I came across in regards of anxiety was the fact and the understanding that anxiety is not an emotion. Anxiety is more like car sickness. Now, car sickness makes you, disoriented and feel sick, and then eventually, sometimes you puke. But why? What does that have in common with anxiety? Well, car sickness is the result of information overload. In the most simple way, what happens to the body and the mind is that you get contradicting information. You get oncoming information, you get sound, you get motion, and then you have all these conceptualities that slush around in our brains, and eventually you feel dysphoric and kind of nauseous, and eventually maybe you puke. This is kind of like anxiety. Anxiety, when it comes down to it, like I said, isn't a real feeling. It's actually like a clusterfuck of a lot of emotions and a lot of impressions and a lot of different conceptual constructs, ideas. With all the information humans, walk around with in our heads, every day we watch TV, we read our news feeds on our computers and phones, we listen to radio, we talk to each other. It's a wonder, it's actually a miracle that more people are not going through terrible anxiety issues because there's so much contradicting information. But somehow people seem to be able to somehow work those things out. But not all of us. All of us can't really do that, especially if we have some kind of strong negative experience when we're really young. That makes us extra susceptible, it seems. But when it comes down to it, the clusterfuck that is anxiety usually springs out of too many discrepancies in your life, too many paradoxes, and too many contradicting pieces and wills. Eventually, the compensating, it'll become both depressing and it'll cause anxiety. What do we do about that? Can we reach that and change that? Yes. By actively and daily working with identifying and separating our emotions, the various real emotions that we feel. Now, this is not easy, and it really is not a simple thing to diving into the kind of Gordian knot that any kind of anxiety construct, clusterfuck really is, because there's so much of it. So if you're gonna do it, I truly and dearly recommend that find a professional, like speak to a psychologist, but also remember, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your teacher. Here's the deal. Anxiety is not a mystery anymore. It's not a shameful thing. Having anxiety issues or anxiety problems is something that's very, very common. And today we know that we can, together with other people, we can make it work by talking about what we think, talking about what we feel, and by slowly, carefully picking the bones out of the fish, so to speak. It's important to understand that, some of the things we think, we don't think at all. I don't know how that sounds to you, how that sits with you, but human beings have this amazing, and when it comes down to it, it's a sympathetic thing we do, where most people are empathetic and just socially talented that way, that we will actually make concessions for people who are more dominant than we are. And this means that if there are subjects that we don't really think or care about so much, then we can, on a more shallow level, we just take that information in and we think that this is what we think. We haven't given it the time to really feel or deeply reason if this sits well with who we are as far as what our intention and what our dreams, desires, needs, and hopes, etc. are. But we've just we accept it out there in the corner. And this is treacherous, because every time we do this means that we get, like I spoke of also in a previous episode, we get the consequences of other people's ideas and opinions. And this is important to know. Do you want to take the consequences of someone else's will, or would you rather take the consequences of what you do? So, we're talking about anxiety, and the first thing that I want you to take with you from this episode was basically this: know your enemy. Anxiety is not a feeling. Anxiety is a clusterfuck of many feelings and what people want or what you want, and ideas and hopes, etc. So it's basically just a clusterfuck. And one very efficient way of alleviating the tension of that clusterfuck is actually determining what the separate pieces are. If you can start doing that, I can guarantee you that the intensity of your anxiety when it comes is going to go down a little bit, and you will find it a little bit more manageable. All right, that's today's subject. We're going to go back to this in another episode. Until then, like, share, comment, and take care. Alak Baba Sirashandirag.
'Cause you are